Today I came across a vintage axe head. It was kind of stuck in between two doors of a barn that was built back in the 30s. I don't know how long it's been there. It's been there a long time, judging by the appearance of it. I know your first thought is, that's garbage, chuck it. But you know, there's a way to restore these things so they're back to being in a usable condition. It still has the handle remnants in it, which I'm going to get rid of. And then I'm going to be soaking it in vinegar for however long it takes to get the rust off of there. This would be a fun project, so let's get started. I always say you have to see beyond the rust, because under the rust is a nice steel axe head. Well, that was simple. It's nice when you're able to restore something, bring it back into use. I'm just going to be using regular vinegar. It's the same thing I use when I'm refurbishing my cast iron. Just going to put the axe head in there. And that's it. I'm going to keep it there at least overnight, and then I'll check on it tomorrow. It's been 2 days since I've gotten to this. I've been busy with other things around the house. You can see how the rust has just fallen off of the axe head into the pan, and all the bubbling motion is just working at the rust. It's such a good rust penetrant. So I'm going to go ahead and get it out and see if I can scrub it clean. And this is just vinegar. 2 days sitting in vinegar. All of the rust on the exterior is just easily wiping off with steel wool. You don't have to spend all that time with a sander or scraper. The only thing is, when you take it down to the bare metal, it really rusts quickly, so you have to keep it dry. I'm just curious to see if there's a brand on this. Judging by a lot of the other ones that have been around with my family, Craftsman was their go-to. So like I said, this thing is, I don't know, 50 to 80 years old at least. I see a name here. It looks like good steel. I'm just going to dry it. Ugh, get that off my bench. Alright, let's bring you in on a close-up of this thing. Okay, it has some pits. Maybe I can wire wheel that. It's looking a lot better than what it was. And there's a name on it. Let me see if I can zoom it in on this. Looks like Fulton. So without any heavy-duty scraping, I got it down to nice clean metal, except for a few spots that's pitted, but that's pretty normal. So here I've got some high spots, so it's probably been hit by a hammer or used as a sledgehammer. So I'm just going to use my grinding wheel and take that down. I actually have it kind of pivot to the back, so when the axe is going through the wood, this isn't going to hinder it. Yeah, it's definitely Fulton. Fulton. And it already has a nice edge on it. I'm just going to have to tweak it with my wet sander, or with my whetstone. I'm very surprised. Got a nice whetstone. Just use a little bit of spit on there. That's got a nice edge on it. I could also use just a regular metal file if it had some burrs in it, or if it had some deep grooves in it, but this is pretty clean. It just needs to be honed a little. Let's do a little more. And you don't want to use an electric grinder, because you can change the temper of the steel. You get it hot. I mean, I guess if you're starting with something that's dull as a stick, you'd have to maybe get some electric on there. But for the most part, I try not to. I'll hand file it, and then I'll just use my whetstones. That's ready for the wood. It's amazing to see how a rusty old axe head that's been sitting in a barn for who knows how many years, 50 to 80 years, covered in rust, cleaned off with just soaking it in vinegar and rubbing it with steel wool. The only modification I had to do was because the edges were beaten by either a sledgehammer, or else this was used as a sledgehammer, so the metal kind of mushroomed. I just eliminated that. The edge was still pretty good. Just did a whetstone. So it's very easy to go from rust to a nice little workable hatchet or axe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.